In this video, we will be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 5 of the series, and in the last episode we saw a lot of expansion happening over here in East Asia. Last episode was quite heavily focused on this region, however we did also see some expansion over here in Europe. If you do end up enjoying this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. We are currently on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I believe we're at 800 at the minute, so make sure to subscribe so we can get there. Anyway, let's begin the video. So to start off with, I just want to mention I have done the province map and the major city map. I can toggle these on when we're going through wars, but I just think this looks nice. I've tried to do it so the lesser populated areas have bigger provinces, so you can kind of grasp it from that. I will update this after every episode, I think. I don't know if I'll do a live stream for drawing provinces, but I might. So we're going to be beginning up here in the north because we're going to see some more expansion. The Swedish country is going to keep on expanding around the coast, and after seeing Norway do some expansion as well, we're going to see Sweden and Norway reluctantly sign a treaty in order to not lead a war to happen due to this land, because it could easily lead to a big dispute. And in this deal we see it looking something like this. So Norway does manage to get the coastal areas, which kind of annoys Sweden, but yeah, they have managed to secure land. So looking at what Sweden got, Sweden does get a very large portion of land here. But now they're going to continue expanding around the coast. Sweden is getting quite strong at this point. But we're actually going to see a new nation form here. And this is going to be from people from Sweden and Norway and Finland as well. And they're going to be a pretty small nation. They're going to set themselves up right here. However, they are going to quite quickly expand. And once they finish setting themselves up, they're going to look something like this. And their capital will be right over here. This kind of does cut Sweden off, which they are a bit annoyed about, and this is going to lead to them expanding up north, and we're going to see them take about this much land. Moving down to Finland, they're going to draw up a border with this new country, and it's going to look something like this. And this northern country will also claim this land. I'm going to shift their colour because it is a little bit too similar, I think. There we go, that looks better. We're also going to see Finland continue to expand their claims over here, and I'm going to drop them a border, and it's going to look something like this. However, they can't really go much further north as it is getting very cold up here. Just a bit lower down, they are going to be expanding their puppet state. They're going to be going southward, and they're going to be looking something like this. This does leave some land over here open, and we're going to see this Baltic country claim some of it, and we're also going to see Russia claim some of it. Over in Ukraine, they're going to be doing a little bit of expansion, and we're also going to see a new country form just right above them. And that's going to be this dark green country, and that kind of does annoy Ukraine as it blocks them off. And this country also doesn't have very good relations with Russia, as a lot of people that are in this country left Russia to form this guy, so these guys are not going to get along very well at all. Down here in the Caucasus, we're going to see multiple things happen. First, we're going to see the Anatolian country claim quite a bit of this land. And next up, we're going to see this new country form on the east of the Caspian, or I guess this is the east of the Caucasus, and it's going to be on the west of the Caspian Sea. And these guys are kind of from this blue country, and this blue country is it's kind of an authoritarian country. They are a monarchy, but they're an absolute monarchy, and they don't have very much rights for the people. So the people left and came here, and this country is going to be an oligarchy. But it is more pro-people. So yeah, that's why a lot of people decided to move here. But now we're going to see some more exploration into Arabia, as we're going to see a lot of people decide that they're going to move here to form their own country, as it is quite an open amount of land. And we're going to see about this much of the peninsula be explored, although they also probably will explore down here as well. And a pretty large amount of this land is going to get divided up. We see two new countries form here, as well as the Anatolians and Greece also taking a bit. Now, this country is important because this country is actually formed by people leaving the Greece-Egyptian colony, because they want this colony to be independent, and now they also want it to be independent under them. We're going to see the Anatolians and these guys sign a bit of a deal, and we'll see what this leads to in a minute. Down in Africa, we're going to see some more exploration with a lot of this coast being discovered on the Red Sea. This is going to go all the way down to Somalia. This is also going to lead to some more exploration in Arabia, leading to the whole coast being discovered, and I'm also just going to colour all of this in white as well. And we are seeing more exploration into the desert, This is kind of just fueled by curiosity, to be honest, but there are some people who think there's natural resources in the desert. They won't really find many, to be honest. And we're going to see a few new countries form. Also, Socotra gets discovered as well. So we're going to see two new countries form here. We're going to see this Somalian one, and we're also going to see this Sudanese country. Over here, we're also going to see some exploration on the western coast of Africa. As the purple team sends exploration groups down, they also discover the Cape Verde Islands, and there's a lot of people who see this as a nice place to live, so they're going to set up their country right here, and their capital is actually going to be stationed on Cape Verde Islands, probably right here. Now we're going to see a lot more exploration into Africa all around, and at the end we're going to see something like this be known. But now we're going to have a look at the purple team. So a lot of people have just left their country to form this new state, and it's because there are quite a lot of issues with the government of the purple team, and this is actually going to lead to sort of like a lot of protests over here on this western coast, and this is actually going to lead to a full-scale rebellion. So this peach coloured country is going to break away, and it's going to be started over here on the Balearic Islands, and it's going to spread over here to the coast. And these guys want their independence to form an actual republic, which is one of the first republics. And they're going to fight hard. The purple team is going to mobilize their military. However, a lot of the military is actually going to be siding with this rebellion. So the purple team does attempt to make a push into the country. However, it really doesn't go too well, and we kind of just see a stalemate. The purple team will try an offensive in the north. However, then the northern Spanish country will attempt to fund these guys, and this kind of just really makes it hard for these guys to push back. I'm talking about the purple team. And we're actually going to see a ceasefire be signed, and this is going to lead to a peace treaty. So let's see what these guys are going to draw up. So in this peace treaty here, the Balearic Island country is going to be getting this set of provinces, and they will be setting up their capital on one of these major cities, and that is going to be right here. Now, this is not going to be the only case of instability we're going to be seeing, as a lot of these Central European countries, when they were set up, they didn't have much population, so they were able to be quite big and they could rule their country easily. But now there is actually going to be a lot more people in these countries, and it's going to start to become very unstable as they were not set up to have a large population. Some of these countries are about 100 years old or so, and this country is going to get hit the hardest by this. So this country is going to kind of collapse, as we're going to see a few rebellions break out over here. This is in the Alp area, and these are going to quickly consolidate into a front. We also see the blue team and the Romans look at this as an excellent opportunity to gain some land. So in turn for not joining this war, the Romans and the blue team are going to demand some land from this guy. So the Romans are going to demand these provinces right here, and the blue team is going to demand this province. Looking at it from the province map, these are the provinces that were lost. But now the beige team can get back to fighting its civil war. These guys are going to try and get to the capital, however it's not going to really work, as these guys are also not very strong, and unlike this rebellion down here, these guys aren't receiving any support from a foreign power, so it's going to lead to another sort of ceasefire happening. So in this peace treaty here, we can see that this country has effectively been split in two. This blue team broke away, and it's very weak. They only had one major city right here. There was also this province in the north. It was being heavily disputed. However, after the citizens were put to a vote, they decided to stay with the original government. So yeah, that was a big hit for this guy, and they are now much weaker. But now we're going to be moving away from the old world, and we're going to look at some new events happening in East Asia. So in India, we see the rest of the peninsula be explored, as well as Sri Lanka, and we also see some exploration up into the mainland of Asia. This goes over into Bangladesh. However, these guys are not going to meet up for a while. They explore more around the coast as well, and these guys do know about. They don't. These guys don't know about each other as well. It's because they're not like trading with each other, because there's barely any countries over here to do that with. I'm sure soon they will know about each other. These guys will connect up probably, maybe in the next episode maybe, but these guys are going to be separate for a little bit longer. And with some more of this land being explored, we're actually going to see some new countries form. So we're going to see this South India country form right here, and we're also going to see another country form as well as some expansion, so I'll draw that up right now. So we're going to see this Bangladesh country form right here. This Mint country is going to take this land. This country isn't going to take too much land, however they are already the most powerful country on the Indian subcontinent. This country is going to take a little bit of land. This also connects them up with the blue team and kind of cuts off this guy from expanding too much more. And yeah, that is going to be our update for the Indian countries. Down over here, we're going to see the Lime team do a lot of expanding. They take all of Socotra as well as all of Java. They take a big portion of Socotra and a little bit more of Java as well. And yeah, overall they just do quite a large bit of expansion. Now quickly becoming a very powerful nation down here, and there is a lot of people from these northern countries moving down as they see this country as quickly expanding, showing them as very strong. So this is going to lead to a lot of these countries also expanding. So we're going to see all of these Chinese countries get quite a bit bigger. Korea is also going to get in on this, taking a quite large chunk of land out of southern Manchuria. And the rest of the Japanese islands are going to be explored and colonized. Well, they already were explored. We're going to see Sakhalin country take this land down here. I'm just going to fix that. There we go. They're also going to expand into the mainland, taking this chunk of land in the north. And they're going to take some coastal land in the south, hoping to get some more freshwater access. They're then going to explore further into China, however they're not going to really do so in the south. They do explore a tiny bit into Siberia, but they really don't go far there. And the final event of this video is actually going to be a very major one. So over here in Egypt, we're going to see a lot of protests and rebellions break out as Greece continues to become a little bit more authoritarian. The Anatolian country is going to show their support for this Egypt. I'll just call these guys Egypt. And we're going to actually see these guys launch an invasion of Greece. So they're going to move into the Sinai Peninsula quickly. However, the Greeks will then mobilize their colonial army, which is stationed in Egypt. Now, it's here where the Anatolian country is kind of going to do something stupid. They're going to see how well these guys are doing against Greece and Egypt, and they're going to decide that it's time, we're going to invade Cyprus. So the Turkish country invades Cyprus, but they were kind of underestimating the Greeks, because down here, this guy is only going up against the Greek colonial army, and Turkey is about to go up against the entire Greek military. So the Greeks will absolutely storm straight into Turkey, and they will quickly take the capital. The Turks were absolutely not expecting this. The Greeks will then speed straight towards like the main Anatolian part, and they will also go down the coast. And this is kind of making these guys say, what are you doing? Because now the Greeks can come down from the north directly on land. So these guys are going to blitz through Egypt as fast as they can, and they do manage to successfully take out the country, and then they move their forces up north. This does lead to a minor pushback in Greece. However, in the north they continue along the coast, and they're now heading for this major city over here. And if they take it, they are pretty sure that Turkey will collapse, as it is one of their only ones left. They also capture this one, and in the battle of this major city, it is fought to a standstill. But now we're going to see something pretty interesting happen. Over here in Naples, this is a Greek colony, and the Greeks treat it as such. They do not treat it as their mainland. The Greeks see their mainland as, the Greeks only view their mainland as this. They do not view Naples and then this guy as their mainland. They treat it as a colony, and they have less rights as the main Greek land. And this is also why Carthage broke away from Greece. And Carthage, seeing this war, is going to go over to Naples and say, would you like independence and you can join us? And Naples is actually going to go ahead and say yes. And of course the Greeks are going to see this as an invasion, but they can't really do much because their forces are all tied up over here. Now the Carthaginians do offer peace to Greece, however Greece denies this, and because of this we're actually going to see the Carthaginians send over some troops to Egypt. This is going to lead to quite a big pushback, and even allows Turkey to secure this major city right here. And we see the battle of this major city take place, as well as this one, as the Greeks sort of make a wall of defences, and they even push back to the capital. And they have to set up a border right here, going along with these three major cities that they are fortifying. The Allies struggle to get past the Greek defences, and we also see the Greeks successfully landing in southern Naples before the Carthaginians can move a lot of military assets there. And after a while, we kind of just see the war just stop. It just stays still right here, and the countries are all going to decide it's time to end the war, and we're going to sign a peace treaty. So in this peace treaty here, we can see a pretty big compromise has been made. So let's break it down. So first of all, Naples and Sicily, they fully go over to Carthage. Now you might be thinking, why? Because in the end days of the war, Greece did have a pretty good foothold in Naples. And this is actually because they knew that if they took this back, after having a taste of freedom, they were going to just keep on rebelling and it was going to be a pain for Greece. So Greece decides, we're just going to give it up. In Egypt, it fully unites with this country right here, and they move their capital over to Cairo. This is not where Cairo is. I'm just going to call that it's Cairo because it's capital of Egypt in real life. But over here in Turkey, this is the only member of that alliance that kind of lost this war. I forgot to colour in Cyprus. They are going to lose a very large chunk of land, even losing their main capital. And they're going to be forced to move it over to this major city right here. And yeah, this is a pretty big blow for Turkey, and they are starting to become quite unstable after this war. So yeah, that is a big blow for them. But that is actually going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. I do hope you guys are enjoying this Wixo series. I do have a lot planned, like I've said before, with this series. But you can also leave suggestions in the comments if you want. But yeah, that is it, and I will see you in the next video.